Good morning. All right. Well, we're going to ask everyone, if you will, let us stand and sing our first song, Love Is My Decision.
Watch out, watch out, watch out. Let's move this back.
Well, good morning, Unity of Santa Barbara. What a joy to see your smiling faces. I love it. Well, we are a welcoming community, welcoming all people, all faiths, all lifestyles, all cultures, all ways of thinking, and that is why we are called Unity. That's it. That is why we are called Unity. So wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we are thrilled to have you with us this morning. And so now let us just turn and face that camera right above and just wave at everybody online. We are so grateful that you are joining us today. We have people that are locally watching us today from all over the world. Each Sunday, we're always just thrilled to know. So we are grateful to have you also be a part of today's service. Thank you. So now we begin with an opening prayer. I'm going to ask each of you, if you will, just close your eyes for a moment. And again, just tune in, tap in. There is a power and a presence right here, right now, that is greater than any circumstance, mightier than any condition. Tune into that. And so, dear God, as we are aligning ourselves with the awareness of who you are here today, we call forward a column of light from the highest of the heavens to the middle of the earth that surround, fill, and protect this church, its property, and all who enter here. We ask that as we sit here in the light, we ask for a cleansing of consciousness. Anything that can be lifted and released that is not of our highest good, we ask for this light to do so at this time. We also ask that we leave here with a renewed sense of who we are. And so for this blessing, we truly do give thanks. And so it is. Amen. And so this is the time in our service where we greet those around us. And if you will, nowadays we can't hug as much, we can't shake each other's hands as much, but we can certainly bow to the divinity within each person, or you can just bow to the fabulousness in each person. So if you'll just take a moment to do so and just recognize those people that are around you. You might want to stand.
Cute. Good morning, everyone. So we have some announcements. Oh, before I forget, happy first day of spring. Yay. Yay. And you all look so, especially this choir here this morning, looks so spring-like. Little blossoms everywhere. Okay, so we're going to do the announcements. The first announcement is, as you probably know already, this is the weekend that we are voting for our future, and we do have a ballot box outside there. So the voting will be happening today. We are voting on yes or no. Would you like to have Reverend Cathy and Reverend Temple as our ministerial team? And so there was a voting window on Friday from 10 to 2. Today, before and after the service. And then tomorrow also, Monday also, 10 to 2. And then we will see where we go from there. I'm very excited about this. It is an in-person vote. If you know anyone who wants to vote and cannot get here, then we will send someone out with a ballot and bring it back for them. But no proxy voting and no email voting or anything like that. It is an in-person vote. Thank you, Cathy. All right. Then next week, we have our annual meeting on March 27th. It'll be right after the service. All Unity of Santa Barbara members are welcome. All Unity of Santa Barbara people, even if you're not a member, you are welcome. However, if you're not a member, you cannot vote. So we'll be voting on new board members. We'll be approving our 2020, there's a lot of 20s in there, our 2022 and 23 budget, yes. And our board nominees will be and are Clyde Blair and Kathleen Blake. I know Kathleen is here. Why don't you stand up and let us know who you are? Clyde, are you here? Clyde said he will be here today. Okay, and then we have a spring concert. Penny, you ready for that? Yeah, we have been practicing for, I don't know, about 3 years for this. We tried to do it in 2020, and then we thought maybe we could do it in 2021, but this year we are doing it on Friday, April 1st at 7 p.m. right here, in person. So please join us. It will be sacred music, contemplative music, not the rip-roaring kind of stuff we do during the summer or around the holidays, Christmas holidays. But please join us. We would love to see you here on April 1st. April Fool's Day, yes, you're right. But we're not going to fool you. We are going to amaze you. Okay. Do we have anybody who is here for the first time this morning? If so, oh, we do have these people right here, this gentleman right here. Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. We have a flower for you. Here it comes. And, after the service, you can sign up on our e-blast board out there so you can get emails and know what's going on here at Unity of Santa Barbara on a weekly basis. Anybody else here for the first time? All right. Well, we're delighted that you are here with us this morning. And we are going to celebrate birthdays for March yet again. You know, we love birthdays. So anybody having a birthday this month? There's one here. And I've already had my flower. It is my birthday next. And about I can't even believe I'm going to be as old as I'm going to be. It's been quite a ride. Okay. Oh, I already got a flower last week. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's just settle a little bit, and we're going to move into the daily word. I think the daily word today is so appropriate for the first day of spring, and it's also appropriate, I think, for this voting that we're doing, voting for our future and the consciousness that we are holding for moving forward. So the word for today is positivity. And the affirmation is, I plant seeds of positivity and harvest joy. Every gardener knows that blooms grow best in good soil. Even before planting, it's good practice to pull the weeds and prepare the soil, giving the seeds the optimal conditions in which to grow. Today, I tend the garden of my consciousness. I pull the weeds of worrisome and unforgiving thoughts by denying that they have any power over me. I create a fertile environment for new positive thoughts to grow through regular prayer and meditation. When I touch that place of infinite stillness and peace, I affirm wholeness, prosperity, happiness, and security in my life. Like bright, beautiful flowers, these positive thoughts bloom and grow in my consciousness. And from Philippians 4:8, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, think about these things. So let's just take a moment to allow these words and these ideas to penetrate into our consciousness. I'll say this affirmation one more time. I plant seeds of positivity and harvest joy. And so it is. And now we have our statement of truth. Let me say this once and then we'll say it together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. Let's say that together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. And now there is a song.
I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you blessing to the world. And who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world.
And so, if you will, once again, just breathe into that place of great love where great peace lives, where great joy lives. This is God in the greatest essence. So as you go inward, I just want you to remember a time in your life when you felt so joyous with a great sense of well-being. And that joy really came from within you. And as you allow that joy, that remembrance of that joy, which is in your cellular memory, it is alive right here, right now. Allow it to just permeate every part of your being. And we magnify that joy, that love, that sense of great well-being by just sending it out to each person here. And we send it out to those online. Take a moment to sit here in the foundation of today's lesson. We have created an energetic, strong foundation. And so in this time of meditation, which will be short, as we're going to have another time after the message today, I want you to take this feeling and live from here. Be from here. And for this, dear God, as we have come together in this way, we are so grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Make my life an hallelujah.
Oh, that was beautiful. You know, I was sitting back here and I could peek out into the audience and the smiles that came over everyone's faces when you guys were singing. That means you've done a good job, really good job. Well, the other morning I walked into the kitchen only to see some ants that were coming through my kitchen window. I'm always fascinated by ants, and I began to watch them. Anyone have that kind of time? Just kidding. In a world where there's World War III looming in the background, a minister is desperate for sermon material, and we make everything a lesson. So, anywho, it's interesting because if you watch them, I'm sure you've noticed they're all in this single line. And this is what is called mass formation. It's also called mob or crowd psychology. It's a group think. Charles Fillmore called it race consciousness, but nowadays you can't really say the word race consciousness without it meaning something else. But it's a group think. And basically the ants, they're just doing whatever the rest of the ants do. They don't have to be anything. They are just following the crowd. And oddly enough, you know, there's no like lanes that are painted there. They're not forced to stay there. They can go anywhere on the surface that they want, but they just stay in that line. And if you get down really close, you can hear them. You can hear them, and you can hear some of them say, just stay in the line, follow the ant in front of you, this is how we do things. And some of them are chanting, 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day, older and deeper in debt, yeah. One ant after another, and don't you think that there has got to be that one ant, that one jerk of an ant at the back of the line with road rage, just yelling, hey, come on, let's go, what's the holdup, jeez, just yelling. And then that jerk of an ant yells at the ant in front of him that just died, and he says, hey, get on my back, because we're going on the carpool lane. Right? Haven't you seen the ants? They're just, you know, they've got this dead ant on their back, just carrying them around, not really knowing where to go. They're just getting nowhere a little faster. So there they are in this single line, not even seeing that there's a whole vista of other possibilities. They are in survival mentality. They have forgotten who they are. So I got down closer, and I could faintly hear their vibration. It just seemed to be humming. Okay, now choir, this is where you need to help me here. I want you to gently chant this, just gently chant until I ask you to stop. Ho, hum, ho, ho, hum, ho. Now this is their life experience. This is their vibration. This is where they resonate. And they're told what to feel. They're told to feel angry. And you can hear them. Hey, feel angry about this, pass it on. Hey, feel angry about this, pass it on. Ho, hum, ho. And then they say, hey, there's not enough. Oh, and by the way, you're not enough either, pass it on. Hey, there's not enough. And, oh, by the way, you're not enough either. Pass it on. Ho, hum, ho. Ho, hum, ho. Hey, be in extreme fear. You are here to suffer and die. Pass it on. Ho, hum, ho. Hey, if anyone doesn't think like us, judge the heck out of them. Make them wrong and make sure everyone knows about it on social media. Ho, hum, ho. Ho, hum, ho. hey, see that ant over there that left us? Let's cancel him. He is not doing what we want him to do. In fact, let's crucify him. Ho hum, ho, ho hum, ho. Thank you very much, choir. So here I am looking at these ants in my kitchen, and I see one in the far off distance, the one that left the crowd, and he has like 12 ants around him. And I think I heard him say, because I really got down really close, I think I heard him say, my name is Jesus. Come, follow my teachings. I have learned to break away from that matrix of following everyone in the single line. That is so low frequency. So let's just split that scene and go to a higher ground, a higher frequency. I can teach you a better life. Look at the infinite possibilities. Look over there. You can munch on that crumb of well-being. Or look over there. You can go on this faucet over here and get a better view. You are powerful. You are powerful ants. You are enlightened ants. The kingdom of heaven, the spring of well-being is within you. Do not ever forget that. And then I see this Jesus ant. He's crawling up a napkin that I just happened to have there, right? And so it was like he was doing the Sermon on the Mount. And he continued, and he spoke loud enough so that the single file ants could hear. And he said, there is a lost race on this planet Earth. Over the ages, this race has been covered with the dust of delusional thoughts and misconceptions of self-identity and great division. That way of thinking is part of that line over there. That line over there has forgotten their real, true nature. The lost race that I am talking about is called ant children of God, and you are all a part of it. Previously, when you were in that line, you had fallen into the stupor of believing that you are limited. You had fallen into the stupor of believing that there's not enough, that you are alone, and that you are doing this existence without a higher power. And, this Jesus ant said, I am here to remind you, you are an ant child of God. And within you is this great stream of well-being and joy. You, my dear ants, are loved beyond measure. It was pretty amazing because as soon as he said those things, some of the ants from the line of mass formation, they left and began to practice his teachings. They broke away from what they were told to thinking for themselves. It was amazing. It was an amazing event right there in my kitchen. I mean, who knew, really? My friends, at this church, we teach waking up, that everyone is already enlightened. We teach waking up to the great love, the great well-being that resides within. And it's easy to forget and to fall into the stupor. Sometimes it's easy to just fall back asleep and then fall right back in line. Ho, hum, ho. Exactly. So maybe instead of giving today's title, The Lost Race, I should have maybe entitled it The Forgotten Race. That's when we forget. We forget that we are children of God. We forget, and we have to wake up to who we are. So within the last few years, I have been hearing about this theory of the two trains, a type of parallel reality, if you will. Some of you may have heard of the theory of the two trains. If not, I'm going to ask you to put your seatbelts on because your mind is about ready to be blown away. I love stretching your minds just a little bit because I like doing that to my own. I love sci-fi. So this theory is right up my alley. Therefore, I've been hearing and reading about this theory of the two trains through spiritual teachers, astrologers, and scientists. Barbara Marx Hubbard, she called it the tale of two futures. If you've heard of that, maybe some of you have heard of that. But first, let's go into the rabbit hole of science for a moment. So science has been studying parallel universes since 1956. All time, it says, exists at the same time. American physicist Hugh Everett first formulated this idea of existence of parallel realities to explain the theory that every possible outcome of every choice we have actually does happen. For instance, while in this universe you choose path A, this is where you got to tighten up your seatbelts. There is an alternate you that will choose path B in a parallel universe. And that's something. So the train theory is explained like this. It is the idea related to two railroad trains leaving the station at the same time in directions that are slightly at a slight angle, if you will, of each other. And so they start to depart the station, and they're close enough to one another so that if you wished to transfer from one train to the other, you could jump just a short distance, right? And as the trains proceed on their different tracks, they get further and further apart. And the distance of these trains increases until it is impossible for you to jump from one to the other. So you following me so far? Good, good. You guys are so smart. So our current political and world situations call for us to choose which parallel reality, which train we are on. If you've noticed, we are experiencing two radically different parallel realities with no overlap. One mindset is represented by fear, judgment, dishonesty, resistance. This is where one thinks that the physical mind is in charge and struggle and suffering is a part of life. The other train is based on trust, it's based on connection, mutual support, and recognition of a higher frequency. This is where one knows that the universe is pure love and doesn't expect you to suffer or struggle. Straddling or alternating both is no longer an option, and this is where Jesus brilliantly described our choice. A person cannot serve two masters. You cannot be in fear and love at the same time. You cannot be in anger or joy at the same time. It's impossible. So you cannot serve two masters. You're either in one or the other. So these scientists, astrologers, and spiritual teachers are saying that the metaphor of the trains are actual parallel realities that are existing at the same time. This is one of my favorite subjects. I love it. And they are saying that you can actually see that there is a clear divide of frequency. Have you noticed that? There's a clear divide of frequency. Now, whether you believe in simultaneous parallel realities or not, you've got to admit there is a clear divide of frequency. And the question is, which train are you on? Now, every once in a while, I come across a grouchy person. You know, you kind of do every once in a while, and I just think, oh, they're not on my train. It's a nice way of just going, I love you. You're not on my train. And where you put your focus and attention is the train that you're on. The tracks are either love or fear, confidence or doubt, well-being or anxiety. Now, one train, let's just call that train the 16-ton train because energetically it's got a heavy vibration. And just like the ants falling in line, they see division through judgment. They will judge and they will make the other train wrong, right? What did the ants do? They went, make that ant wrong. That train diminishes your greatness. The other train, which we will call the love train, they will see everyone as a child of God. They will see them as a child of God. Even they will see the ones that are on the 16-ton train, right? They'll see them also as children of God. And while many people are worried and struggling with the state of our world affairs, the love train is a group of people who will remain committed to their spiritual well-being for themselves and for others. They are the keepers of the flame. So if you are here listening to this lesson here in this sanctuary, and for those of you who are online, you are among the group of the love train, or else you wouldn't be here, right? So as the author Alan Cohen said in his book Soul and Destiny, you're going to love this. He says, our world has arrived at a crucial point in evolution. We stand at the crossroads between fear and love, confusion and clarity, despair and hope, defeat and victory. Each of us must choose the road we will walk. These paths have become exaggerated to such an intense degree that it is impossible to straddle the two or go back and forth. Here we go. Listen to this. The world is like a train station. See, this theory is all over. It's like a train station where there are two trains leaving the station headed in different directions a few degrees apart. At the onset of their departure, the trains are close enough that if you wanted to jump from one to the other, you could. But the farther the trains move ahead, the greater the distance between them, and at some point, it is no longer possible to switch. Belief systems in the world have become so polarized that we must make a stand for where we wish to go. One track takes us to deeper darkness and separation. The other leads to brilliant light and fulfilling connection. Current events are calling us to decide which train we are on and ride faithfully to its destination. Now here's the deal. I really want you to get this. We all make it home. We all make it home. Why? Because there's not a spot where God is not. How long that takes and how difficult the passage is up to us. So, if there are two parallel realities, there is one train saying, be very afraid, the end is near, planet Earth as we know it will be destroyed. They are the masters of limitation. The other train, that Barbara Marx Hubbard and Michael Beckwith are talking about, is the train that believes that something greater is being born. Something greater is being ushered, a type of heaven on earth where you are taken to the truth of who you really are. For instance, let me tell you about a most awakened teacher. He's no longer on planet Earth, but his name is Lester Levinson. Anyone know him here? Yes. He developed the Sedona method, a brilliant man. And Lester was a man who discovered ultimate happiness. he discovered heaven on earth that is available to each one of us. His journey started in 1952 when his doctor had told him that he had very little time to live because he had something going on with his heart. And Lester's heart was it wasn't the only issue that he had. He had had health problems for most of his life, but he also had severe depression. So upon hearing the news that he only had a certain amount of time to live, he went home, and the first few days, of course, he was terrified of dying. And then he decided that if he was going to die, since he was going to die, he would just at least reflect back on his life and work out why he was so unhappy. And then he began this process that was to become the journey of his life. Lester searched back on his life, the memories, and looked back at times when he was actually the happiest, which were very few. And to his amazement, what he found was that it was not when he was loved by others that he was the happiest. It was when he loved that he was the happiest. So take a moment, reflect back on your own life. I would be willing to bet that you were the happiest when you loved, when your love light was on. So with this revelation, Lester took his unhappy memories one at a time and loved each one of them, causing any suppressed negative emotions around that memory to just be released. From following this process, all the negativity was gone from his body and his heart condition completely healed. Even more miraculous than the healing of every affliction in his body, Lester became enlightened. He became awakened. He knew that he needed to come from the kingdom of heaven within, that spring of well-being. He lived from a place of awakening. And all of this happened in just a short 3-month period of time. Lester then lived for another 42 years after that and experienced great peace and great joy. He was living proof of what it takes to choose to live in a higher resonance. Lester taught what it would be like to be on the love train. So as I said before, unity is about awakening to who we really are. So how do we awaken? Well, first of all, I want you to know, I get it. If you look out into the world, you see a lot of pain, right? You just see a lot of pain, and each one of us can know what is happening in a nanosecond, image after image, and you may feel helpless. With all that is going on, there happens to be something that's called a global lethargy, where as a group, people start to think there's nothing that I can do about it because we're so overwhelmed with all the images of suffering. But that is the way of the 16-ton train. That's ants filing in line, one after another, forgetting the infinite possibilities. The 16-ton train wants you to think that God is not in the crisis and that you personally have to do something about it. The 16-ton train wants you to be in a panic. But the other reality on the love train, when you tune in, when you tap into God, when you tune in to that kingdom of heaven within, that spring of well-being, when you take time to go to that place within where all is well, then you live your outer world where all is well. No matter what the experience, you trust and you see and you know all is well. You see, the truth is, you are an enlightened being going through a material experience. The love train says your job is to live from within out, from the kingdom of heaven, the spring of well-being out. And from there, you realize that there's no place, no relationship, no situation where God is absent. Can you live from that place? If so, just give me an amen. Amen. Truly take that in. God is not absent from any person or situation in your life. There's not a spot where God is not. Yes, my friends, God is also in Russia and in Ukraine and loves them all equally. The 16-ton train will have you believe that God is absent there or that God only loves the people in Ukraine. I have friends in Russia. I know God loves them as well. So here is our big truth for today. Being on the love train means that what really counts is not what happens around you. It's not what happens to you, but what happens in you. It is where everything starts. Because when you become aware of that divinity, that wellspring of divine in you, of well-being, everything outside of you changes. The 16-ton train will make sure that the outer world determines how you feel. So my question to you is, are you ready to board the love train? Yes. All right. All aboard? Tickets, please. We're about ready to board the love train, and we're going to go into a time of meditation, just a quick little meditation. So just imagine this. You're on a train of a great high frequency, and whatever has weighed on you suddenly no longer weighs. It may still be there, in fact, in your life, but it has no mass, it has no gravity, it just doesn't weigh. And every bit of anything that may have weighed on you just has ceased. Imagine that. And so now you enter into this train. And you are happy, but for no reason. Nothing bothers you. You feel no stress. You feel compassion for others, but you don't suffer yourself. You feel entirely fulfilled. Now, as you look around the train, there are other joyous, happy people. They're all feeling this lightness of being. And they're from all faiths, all religions, cultures, political affiliations, and ages. And you really resonate with these light souls. And as a group consciousness now, you have a job to do. And not one of you have underestimated your ability to get this job done. And remember, there are millions of other people that have chosen this train. As a train, as a higher consciousness, your job is to help usher this new earth, heaven on earth. This is the parallel reality this train has chosen. And so as you look around, you have this feeling of great love. Remember with Lester, who's on this train, his happiest times were where he loved. So to usher in this new earth, this heaven on earth, I'm going to ask each of you to just send the rest of the train your love. And then as this long train with millions of people together, we're sending the 16-ton train love. And we send love in all the supposed dark places on our planet. They may seem dark, but God is there. And as we come closer to home, as we leave here today, we remember that we're on that love train. Maybe later today there might be somebody that's grouchy and you go, well, they're just not on my train, but I love them anyway. Or maybe there are people that you are having to deal with. You can just say, they're not on my train, but I love them anyway. And if you continue to just be in that place of great love, you will be the happiest person on planet Earth. So let's just acknowledge each other here that are on our train by just sending a blessing of love to each person. And for this, we do give thanks. And so it is. Amen. And so this is the time in our service where we take up our tithes and offerings. And Russ, I'm going to have you hand me the order of service. All right. For those of you that might have your offering in your hand, we're going to give it a special blessing. Just take a moment, close your eyes, and just acknowledge a time when you felt so prosperous. You knew that everything was taken care of. And I want you to insert that energy, that blessing, into your gift here today. And so we give thanks, dear God, right now, that as each giver has given from a heart of kindness and generosity, that it returns to them 1,000-fold and even more in return. We send it with love, we send it with gratitude, and it comes back in wondrous and miraculous ways. For this we give thanks. And so we take our affirmation. I hold the vision of unity of Santa Barbara as the thriving, loving, spiritual community it is meant to be. And just a little little side note for those of you, I know many of you give online, and for those of you at home, you can give on our website at unitysb.org or Givelify, your app. In fact, if people need help getting that app, they can just get it right outside here. And I guess Forrest might be out there. Somebody will be out there to help you with that. If you want to, Russ, because he does everything here. He's also, he's going to be our president of the board here shortly. At least we think so. I just pre-announced that. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if he knows that yet, but I do. Also, if you want to give with a credit card, you can sign up with Growing the Seed. You can see the table, or whoever, Russ, at the table outside. And so now with that, let us take our affirmation. And this is an old-time unity affirmation. Just take this in. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I and all that I share. And so it is. Indeed, we go forth today to sing one song. We are on the love train. So just say after me, I am on the love train. Together, I am on the love train. Go forth this day and make a big difference. God bless you all. And now let us stand and sing our peace song.